More than 150 million years ago, the world was a pretty quiet place. And then the buzzing started. Insects had developed the ability to fly. One of these early insects was the bee, who developed a special relationship with flowering plants that continues today. For millions of years, bees and plants have worked together to survive by a process called pollination. Talk about reliable. Bees of today are doing the exact same pollination job their ancient ancestors did, and the lives of a lot of animals, including humans, depend on it. Did you know that there are probably over 30,000 species of bees in the world? That's right, 30,000 species. One bee that you probably know about is the honeybee. Let's take a look. This honeybee is visiting a flower in search of its favorite foods, pollen and nectar. Nectar is a sweet liquid that often gives flowers a fragrant smell. The honeybee senses these smells with her antennae, which are located on the top of her head. After drinking some nectar, the bee collects pollen grains and packs them into an area on her rear legs called pollen baskets. This honeybee is practically covered with pollen. Bees visiting flowers probably have no idea that they're about to provide an important service to the flowering plants. When the bee lands on the flower, she crawls around the flower's petals looking for nectar to drink or pollen to collect. Pollen grains stick to other parts of the honeybee's hairy body as well. When this bee travels to another plant to drink more nectar or collect even more pollen, she will carry this extra pollen to the new plant. Moving pollen from one flower to another of the same kind like this is called pollination. It's what allows these plants to reproduce. And how does a honeybee do its job so well? Because she's got the right parts. The adult honeybee, like other insects, has 3 body segments: the head, thorax, and the abdomen. The head contains the mouth parts. A long, hairy tongue called a proboscis helps the bee slurp up nectar. And remember those antennae? They help the bee find nectar, but they also help bees communicate and find their way around the world. The head also contains 5 eyes. 2 of these are compound eyes and are made up of numerous lenses, which give the honeybee over 12,000 views all at once. Sort of like this. Yet, despite having 5 eyes and over 12,000 views, they can only see about 1 yard in front of them. So how do they find blooming flowers that are far away? Well, bees can see ultraviolet light patterns, thanks to all those lenses. And plants have petals that reflect ultraviolet light patterns. A honeybee searches for these patterns, and once the blossoms are located, they usually offer a reward of nectar and pollen to the bee. Connected to the thorax are wings. They are so flexible that a bee can fly forward or just hang out in midair for a while. 6 legs are also attached to the thorax. Each leg contains several joints and tiny claws at the end. These flexible legs and claws are used for just about everything. The abdomen contains most of the internal organs and, of course, the stinger. But bees are more than just great bodies. They have advanced communication and social skills. When the honeybee is done foraging, it returns to its hive. The hive might be as far as 3 miles from the food source, so good communication is important for helping nestmates find the same food patch. This honeybee has just arrived with a full load of pollen in its pollen baskets and a full load of nectar. Now it's time to dance. But this isn't a celebration dance. The worker is actually telling other bees where the pollen and nectar was found. Scientists have identified 2 main dances. A round dance means the flowers are close by, and a waggle dance that forms a figure 8 means the flowers are further away from the hive. The hive is a nest for raising young honeybees and storing food. A hive can be found in a hollow tree, between the walls of a house, or in this case, a wooden box. These wooden bee boxes are man-made spaces for honeybees to build their nests. Why would humans do such a thing? Well, for the honey, of course. Inside the hive, worker bees build a honeycomb from wax. The bee produces this wax from glands on the underside of her abdomen. The comb is used to store nectar and pollen and to raise young honeybees. Honeybees, like many other insects, have 4 stages in their life cycle: the egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Most of the eggs in the honeycombs are female eggs and will grow into worker bees. Only a few eggs will become male bees. Male honeybees, called drones, do not work in the hive or forage for food. A drone's only job is to mate with a queen from another hive. As you might have guessed, the queen is the leader of a hive. She is the largest bee and is responsible for laying most of the eggs. The social structure of the hive revolves around her. As for the worker bees, it's easy to see where they got their name. After a worker bee emerges as an adult, her first duty is to clean the empty cells of the hive so they can be reused for new eggs or used for storage of nectar, pollen, and honey. A few days after cleaning cells, the worker moves up the job ladder and becomes a nurse bee. Nurse bees treat the queen bee, well, like a queen. They feed her and groom her because the queen is just too busy laying the eggs. Nurse bees also feed and take care of eggs and larvae. After several weeks, the worker bee graduates to the job of searching for nectar and pollen. Foraging honeybees spend their days finding flowers and collecting food for the hive. The nectar that is brought to the hive is made into honey. This sweet food is an important food source for the hive and will help them to survive the cold winter months when nectar and pollen are no longer available. Some worker bees also do guard duty at the entrance of the hive. The guard bees identify each bee entering the hive by smell. All the bees living in a hive have the same scent. It's really a combination of many scents. The scent of flowers brought into the hive, as well as a special queen scent produced only by the queen. The scent is so important that any bee without it will suffer the consequences. The stinger. But don't worry, bees only sting when provoked. So the next time you see a honeybee, remember they aren't out to get you. They're just out hunting for food near a local flower bed, providing a very important service to the plants. During its lifetime, the average worker bee will pollinate over 2 million flowers and fly over 50,000 miles. By helping so many plants reproduce, bees are helping us out too, because other animals and people eat these plants. In fact, most of our food is dependent on pollinating bees. Lucky for us, there are more than 30,000 species to keep up the good work.